Grizzlies Nation, what it do? It's your boy Parish Sharkey, beat reporter for the Memphis Grizzlies for Bluff City Media, back here again with another post-game bounce plus. Today, I got another guest for you guys. Actually, a Dallas Mavericks fan who knows a lot of details and ins and outs of the Dallas Mavericks. So it's my guy Brandon Galloway. He was actually a former NFL fan of the year in the first year of it. Fellow Tennessee Titans fan as well as myself. So he'll join me later on the show today to discuss and preview the Grizzlies Mavericks matchup in the second play-in game. But first up, real quick, want to give my thoughts a little bit on the first play-in game for the Grizzlies against the Golden State Warriors, which they lost 121 to 116. Man, kind of same old story. I got booed by most of the people at the watch party, which shout out to Bluff City Media. We have another watch party happening tomorrow night or tonight, whenever this actually recorded come out on Friday night for the Dallas Mavericks game. It's at the same spot, Goes River Brewing. This time they're going to have music bingo hosted by Kevin Cerrito and your own Anthony Sane. Karaoke. Also, they have on the Memphis Showboats. They have a game tomorrow, I believe, at the Michigan Panthers, as well as the Grizzlies game against the Sacramento Kings around the corner at the FedEx Forum, which I'm going to try and swing through the watch party probably pregame before actually heading to the arena to watch the game. So just stay tuned. I may or may not make it, but we'll see where I can make happen, make do what to do. But going back to the Golden State game, 19 turnovers. I mean, that's kind of been the story of the Grizzlies this season. They led the NBA in turnovers per game, and it came back to hunt them again in that game. Of course, Ja Morant's injury, when the Grizzlies made the run, they trailed by 20, made the run, got back within one. And actually, that's when he got hurt. He got hurt on the shot that he hit to get them within one. He got fouled, landed on Buddy Hield's foot. Then he came back and hit the free throw before leaving the game after he tied the game up. So helping them bring them back all the way to tie the game up. And then getting hurt, he made his way back on the court with the ankle injury, but obviously he didn't look he didn't look the same. Yeah, it was very obvious. Only so much you can do. I actually had the pleasure of making it to the Grizzlies practice today, so I can give an update more details about just what was said, what the players' thoughts are going to the next game. But one thing was clear, Ja Morant didn't practice, and he was still limping. So it was a game time decision. Coach Tomas Isolo did confirm that, and the injury report came out and said he's questionable, which is essentially a game time decision. So we'll see when Ja Morant is available to play in the biggest game really of the season. I think we've said this for like the last 2 weeks. Every game has been like the biggest game of the season, but this is legitimately do or die time. You lose, your season over. You win, you get in the playoffs, and you get a tough matchup against the Oklahoma City Thunder, but you live to fight another day. But before we get there, of course, a couple of things that happened that contributed to the loss of the Warriors. Situational awareness is one thing I really want to dive into. Not only just, Santi Aldama, the 5-second inbound violation when we was down by 3 and had a chance to tie it up. Of course, that comes to mind. That play design was kind of iffy, to say the least, but he probably should have pulled the trigger and passed it to Desmond Bane. Regardless, throw the ball in. Just give your team a chance. They had no more timeouts. Just make it tough. It's just tough to try, and you can't get that call. You can't let that happen in this situation. So, lost the game really essentially after that play. But more things led to that. Throughout the fourth quarter, the Grizzlies, it felt like Golden State got all the hustle plays. And it was one specific sequence that I remember. I want to say it was either Gary Payton the second, it probably was Moses Moody. It was back-to-back possessions when the Grizzlies were up by 2 and the game was tied. They had a chance to secure the rebound, and Moses Moody came out and got the offensive board, and then it led to them tying the game up. And then he did it again the very next possession. Those things can't happen though in the thick of the game, especially in a close matchup like that. So that hurt them severely. But at the end of the day, the Grizzlies just didn't have enough. Of course, I'm not the person to really just go and dive into blaming the refs. So I'm gonna leave that where it's at. They did try to help us in the end, but all the damage was done throughout the entirety of the game with all the bad calls, which was expected against the Golden State Warriors. But just moving forward, got the Dallas Mavericks. They looked impressive in their victory against the Sacramento Kings the following night. Anthony Davis led them in scoring. I want to say he had 27 points. Klay Thompson looked really good. They have the big man tandem, Anthony Davis, and of course, Dane Gafford and Derek Lively. And we did get to talk to the players, Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson, and Coach Tomas Isolo about what they expect from their first matchup against Anthony Davis in the Dallas Mavericks uniform.
I mean, Jaren, they got a lot of size, present some problems with offense. Confident shooting, scoring abilities. Good matchup, just like everybody is in the West. It's going to be back home. Our fans hopefully come out and see the environment. Yeah, their size for sure. A lot different. Yeah, they play hard. They're everywhere. They're dynamic. They can switch a lot with their size. And, yeah,
they got a ton of rim protection, ton of length, and I think this is the defining quality that they really wanted to get better on the defensive end. And when you look at those lineups that they're rolling out there, you have long athletic fives, Anthony Davis at the 4, and then some elite wing defenders. So that's what jumps out first and foremost. And then you also have they have very good team reactions offensively. And Davis obviously gives them a very unique player in the front court, player that can handle the ball but can also serve as a screener and operate out of that. So we expect a very difficult match.
And there you have it. Of course, Anthony Davis, he's been a problem for the Grizzlies in the past. I would say earlier this season when he was still on the Lakers, it felt like Zach Edey kind of helped to kind of offset the problems the Grizzlies have had with Anthony Davis. He did seem to struggle with that physicality against Zach Edey. So that seems like a pretty intriguing matchup. We got the Grizzlies bigs, Jaren and Zach Edey. Now they are meeting their match. But the Grizzlies do have an advantage if Ja Morant plays in the backcourt. So, no Luka, obviously. No Kyrie as well. They started Najee Marshall and Klay Thompson. They not starting point guard. So the Grizzlies have a chance to really kind of pressure up on them. But they do have the bigs to match up with them, at least in the starting lineup. This is where like a Brandon Clark, where his injury, it did affect him against the Warriors. It would affect them again tomorrow or tonight, whenever this recording comes out, against their bench. But hey, they gotta go out and play the game. Last thing I want to get into before we get to give with my guests. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been getting a lot of smoke on Grizzlies Twitter. Yeah, he struggled. He ended the game with 18 points, 6 rebounds. He doesn't like himself defensively. It was a lot of different nuances that you was missing with Jaren. And also when Ja got hurt, you needed Jaren and Dez to step up. Dez did 30 points, 5 3-pointers. The three threes he missed were all in and out. He almost went perfect, 8 for 8 from 3. You needed Jaren also to step up, and he seemed to just settle for a 3 a lot. He didn't get to his game that he's been doing all season. And we did ask Tomas Isolo about things he can do to help Jaren get back to being himself ahead of the matchup against the Dallas Mavericks.
I mean, Jaren's been incredible for us the whole season. So he's played at an all-NBA level the whole season, and it's to me it's a reductionist to look at like his production or his points in the paint or so because of the attention that he's getting. It's basically he's a walking double team. He's improved tremendously like during the season. Also opening up other guys, setting up not assist hunting in any way, but making a pass to the open guy and then allowing that, let's say, hot assist to take place. So he's been great for us the whole season, and there's no reason why it doesn't continue. And just overall looking at our core 3 and their leadership and their ownership, especially in this situation, has been very inspiring. They're the ones who are pushing the other guys and pay attention to the details. So we're getting the very best of everybody.
Yep, that was Tomas Isolo talking about Jaren, and also mentioned the core 3. I did see at practice it was a room that they were in when practice finished. Ja, Dez, Jaren, and Tomas Isolo in the room for roughly about 10 minutes or so. They had a little mini meeting discussing some things. So that was good to see your 3 leaders, your 3 best players, and the head coach getting on the same page, getting on one accord before they came out and spoke to us with the media. So there you have it. Jaren been playing like all NBA level player this whole season. Anthony Davis come into your trap tomorrow. Gonna need you to step up, especially even if Ja does play. He's not 100%. So gonna need Jaren to step up and help shoulder some of the load like he has done pretty much most of this entire season. So there you have it. Got my guest coming up, Brandon Galloway. Next time you'll see me interviewing him right after this commercial break.
So then Ja, he since he was fined, he decided to change his celebration after 3, and now it is pull the clip, throw the grenade, cover the ears.
I think it's him throwing out his words. And saying that he's throwing his words out, and he's not listening to what the people have to say.
People are saying about him?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's probably it.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Whatever.
Definitely.
Whatever it means, it's hysterical. Not only does he cover his ears, he crouches down and covers his ears.
He doesn't want to hear the people.
He doesn't want to hear the people.
He's trying to keep the noise out.
That's what it's laugh.
Tune in to the Night Court podcast with your hosts, Rob Fisher and Brevin Knight, on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
I guess let's do the role play. Trey, you are Dane. I am the NCAA. You say what? I want another year. And I say, you played your 4 years.
But, sir, I didn't. There's so many people out here that are getting fifth year. I played 4 years of college basketball, one of which was 3 games. Give me my 5th year.
All right, Mr. NCAA, I have an argument for you. There's a guy that's playing in Austin, Texas right now that the team that I'm trying to play for got beat on a last-second Hail Mary shot at Houston 17 years ago. This guy was a freshman then. His name is Tremont Mark. And he just got granted another year for his 17th year of college basketball. How in the hell does Tremont Mark play 25 years in college basketball and I can't get 4?
He's played 4 years of 30 games plus a year of 7. And he's getting another one.
That would be my biggest argument.
Outrageous.
How the hell does this dude get time and I don't? Tune in to Tigers Untapped with your hosts, Trey Lasley and TJ Willis, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, back here again. Of course, Parish Sharkey back here with my guest, man, my guy, fellow Tennessee Titans fan. We're going to be enemies tomorrow night, but we'll be back on the same team next Thursday. We have the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. Brandon Galloway, what's going on?
What's up, my man? I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate you.
Yep, no problem, man. I know you are big time. Just as much as you are a Titans fan, you're a huge Dallas Mavericks fan. Another thing I forgot to mention. I did. I think I said it earlier, but you were the very first NFL fan of the year back in 2020, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Yep.
That's correct.
Yep.
Represent the Titans 100% of the time, sometimes to my detriment.
Same here. But speaking of detriment, you're still hanging on with Dallas after the Luka trade. So how has that experience been to not just remain a fan, but just watching the team since that moment?
Well, I am hanging on by the marginals of threads. The weakest of threads is what I'm hanging on by. But I'm still here, and it was just it's been rough. Any real Mavericks fan would tell you it's just bad. It's bad all the way around. And I think just a different set of circumstances. Luka acts out. Luka wants to be traded. Luka leaves in free agency. Luka, whatever. I get it. He is a mega international star. He may want to go to the big stage, New York, LA, something like that. But for anybody to just trade this man without anybody's knowledge, without any communication, I just hate the way that it happened. And then, of course, all the bizarre and just unprofessional, unacceptable PR stuff about Luka and all of his characteristics. Like he is the worst person in the world who just led your stanky butt to the finals last season. It's sad. But I think for most Mavs fans anyway, we were fans before Luka got there, and even I'm rooting hard for the Lakers to win with Luka because I just want him to shut folks up. But the other thing is, the players from the Mavericks, they also deserve to, have some solace to the season. So I'm hoping that they can pull it out tomorrow night and get their chance in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. I feel this sentiment because I grew up actually a Chicago Bulls fan. Mm-hmm. But when Memphis Grizzlies, they moved from Vancouver, I was kind of a dual Bulls / Grizzlies fan. But I became a Jimmy Butler fan when they traded Jimmy Butler. That's when I kind of cut ties with the Bulls. But in my case, it was easier because I already became a huge Grizzlies fan as well. And even when they played the Bulls, I was kind of like, I didn't really know who I wanted to win. I was split. So when they traded Jimmy, it was like, okay, it's easier to kind of just say, I can just.
I thought about it, man. I was like, maybe I should just become a Lakers fan. And if it was just that easy for me, I promise you I would have done it. But it is just not that easy. I've been a Maverick for at least 28 years now. And it's just who I am. So it's difficult to separate just, those emotions. So like I said, the front office, I think they're going to see what the results are of doing something like this. Maybe not right away, but 4 or 5 years from now, from when all these dudes are out of their contracts and Dallas don't own a first round pick of their own for 4 straight years, it can get really dicey. So it may be one of them deals where we back in the 90s. So I mean, it may look okay, and they may go on a run and win something, but the bottom line is Luka's window is much bigger, and not only that, he's just a better player. So it's really odd trading. To me, it's like trading a quarterback for a wide receiver.
Yeah, but that's the perfect sentiment. Then, like you said, y'all got picks for the next 4 years, so it's like y'all could at least got a haul of picks.
No picks, no point guard. Like, at least get you a point guard. If you're going to trade away a quarterback, at least get a quarterback back. You know what I'm saying? Don't go out because Anthony Davis, as great as he is, he needs somebody to set him up, to get him the ball in his spots. That's why I kind of compare him to a wide receiver. Whereas Luka, he is the quarterback. He can get his spot. He can get to his spot. He can create for others. Like, he can do all of that. And this whole notion of defense, it's so unbelievably irritating to hear, because the Mavericks rode the number 1 defense in the NBA last year for the last 20 games. And, people point to the finals and specifically Luka, but, the Mavericks had a 102 defensive rating in the finals. That would have been second in the NBA last year. The reason they lost their series is because they couldn't hit shots. They couldn't hit wide open shots, which is why they got Clay. But neither. No, I can go there with you. We'll be on this thing for 3 hours, So I would try to leave it alone.
I really know, but so to move on from that, actually, I did want to get into that. Do you figure that's a weakness for Dallas going to the matchup with Memphis? Because y'all are starting take Najee Marshall and Klay Thompson together. I didn't even know. I guess Najee Marshall is the actual point, is playing point in this case.
And he can do some playmaking. The issue with Najee is his shot, his outside shot is really come and go. It's really hit or miss, and he's like a 30% three-point shooter this year. At one point, he had missed like 20 or 25 straight three-pointers. Like, it was really, really bad for him, to the point, we played Golden State earlier this year. Draymond didn't even guard him. Like, it was like a Rajon Rondo type deal. So I think in the matchup for the Grizzlies, and I've talked with one of my greatest friends, one of my brothers, this morning about it, is I think Ja's going to be the difference. If the Grizzlies are going to win the game, because he is a legitimate point guard. He is a playmaker. He can create for himself and create for others, and I think that's going to be what I think this game is going to boil down to, because the Sacramento Kings got blown off the court, but they do not have a point guard. They do not have a point guard at all. So the Mavericks didn't have a point guard. So now it's just like, well, who's going to try to win this game of the bigs? And of course, Dallas just kind of ate them up on him up on the inside. So I think the Mavericks will have a shot simply because I do think the bigs of Dallas give them some level of an advantage, and they are big. And while people are going to talk about like the Lively's of the world and the Gaffers, I think the person that really makes it all go is honestly PJ Washington. He's the guy that they're going to put on Ja. He is the guy that is going to, and he's like the glue. So he's really versatile and long, got really long arms, can jump, and really athletic. He's kind of that guy. So he's the guy that to me makes them really long. People got a tall power forward and a tall center. The Grizzlies got it. They got Jaren and they got Edie. So they got big guys, but it's the PJ. That's the guy that if the Mavericks are going to win, it's going to help them do it. But if Ja, I know Ja has some stuff going on this season, man. But if Ja can come out and just be him, forget the antics, forget the other stuff, man. Just if he do that, I think the Grizzlies definitely have an advantage at home because they just got something that the Mavericks don't have.
Yep, in which he was doing that against Golden State, and the ankle injury, of course, happened. He was questionable for tomorrow. I did go to the shoot around earlier. I saw him walking gingerly. He didn't practice. He was limping. But the report did come out that he is likely to give it a go, but he will be a game-time decision. But it's all signs are pointing to him playing, as he did mention. He said he would after the end of the Golden State game.
Yeah.
But, you got something?
Well, I was just going to say, Ja, I will be highly surprised if Ja don't play tomorrow. I just don't think he's not going to play. The question, though, becomes because of the ankle injury, does that limit his explosiveness or just his aggression altogether? Because if that's the case, then it does kind of neutralize that advantage to a bit. Now, and like I said, the Mavericks, the other guy that I think that the Grizzlies have really hit the Mavericks upside the head with at least early games this year. I think his name is Jay Huff. And then so
big man.
He is a guy that has given Lively and Gafford the business. I went to a game in Memphis earlier this year in January. Of course, this was for the Luka trade and all that stuff. And that he just was killing Gafford and Lively. They could not do anything with him. He changed the whole tempo and the whole momentum of the game. I think he's going to be big if they play it. Hopefully they play him. But between Ja and Huff, I think those could be some X factors. But I think because you got Desmond Bain, you got Klay Thompson, you got AD, then you got Jaren, you got Edie, you got Lively. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a deal. But the Grizzlies got at least an all-star level point guard who can hit elite level. We've seen elite level point guard play from Ja. And they also got coming off the bench that has given the Mavericks some problems earlier.
Yep, and that's a great point because I can see a scenario of Jay Huff playing because against Golden State, the Grizzlies started Scottie Pippen Jr. to match up with Golden State's small lineup so he can guard Steph. In this game, Dallas is bigger. PJ Washington starting at the 3. Santi Aldama is normally the backup big, but he started at the 3 before. I can see him in this matchup becoming the starter to match up with Dallas. Therefore, they would need a backup big to play some minutes, which is either Jay Huff or Marvin Bagley. In this matchup, it feels like Jay Huff may be because he could at least take he's a stretch big. He could bring you out to the 3-point line. So he probably would be better off with this matchup, to your point.
Yeah. We'll see. I think, like I said, it's going to be styles mix fights. And I think the Grizzlies are going to have the advantage anyway, just because they've been at home at least one day earlier than the Mavericks have been traveling. So it's travel. If they win the game,
West
they go
Coast.
Straight to OKC. Yeah. So, we'll see, my man.
Yeah.
We will see.
But last thing before we get to the predictions, the matchup, this is a big Grizzlies' first time against AD in a Dallas uniform. And AD has known to get the Grizzlies fits in the past. How do you feel about AD and what he can provide in the matchup for y'all?
Well, let me just say this. Anthony Davis, I'm going to piss some people off. Anthony Davis, the idea of Anthony Davis, the threat of Anthony Davis, I feel like has been more impactful than the actual reality of Anthony Davis. He gets so much attention but his shot has really been off. He hit some threes when the game was kind of out of hand yesterday.
Yeah,
But his outside shot has been really, really bad. His mid-range shot has been really hit or miss. And because the Mavericks truly don't have a point guard, it's been difficult for him because they got him playing some point forward type stuff, and it to me is not worth the deal. Now I will tell you, so I think he can play well, and he will need to play well for the Mavericks to win tomorrow. But the person that I'm really looking at to be an X factor for the Mavericks is Brandon Williams. He is a point guard, he was initially a two-way play. He was on a two-way deal, and the Mavericks season's just been so crazy. On a two-way deal, they can only play 50 games during the season.
Yeah.
Well, he had hit his 50-day requirement for the last 2 weeks of the season, so he could not play. They went into the last 2 games where they had just enough money, which is a little bit over $50,000, to sign him to a standard deal. So now he can play. But you wouldn't believe how much a two-way player has been able to help this particular team, because it gives them some competent point guard play, but he also brings a level of speed that is a really, really big change of pace from your Najees or your Spencer Dinwiddie's or something like that. But he had a really good game last night too in Sacramento. So I think he, along with AD, is going to have to figure some stuff out. But the other thing too is, man, the Mavericks do play tough. They play hard. They play tough and they play hard. So the Grizzlies, the one thing that the Mavericks may lose, but the Grizzlies are going to have to match energy with the Mavericks, because they are coming to win that game. They are not coming to lose. They are not coming. This whole idea of, just getting to the offseason because you're just going to play OKC. The Mavericks are not thinking like that at all. They're not They have beaten OKC 3 out of the 4 times. They're the only team in the NBA this season that have beaten OKC more than twice. They've beaten them 3 times this season, and all of them have been without Luka. All the wins have been without Luka. So they are not lacking any confidence if they are healthy against really anybody. So we'll just see what happens.
Wow, that's an interesting stat right there. Definitely brings the juice to this matchup. But just final thing, predictions. Where's your prediction for the matchup?
Good question. My heart wants the Mavericks to win, simply because, again, I think the players have just deserve to have some positivity to end the season and to have a shot to really defend their the Western Conference title from the season before, even without Luka. I do think they deserve that. My head, though, says one team has a quarterback and the other one doesn't. And I think the Grizzlies will come in tomorrow trying to get their solid taste, because to me, they played a good game in Golden State and really outplayed Golden State in the second half of the game. But what they won't be able to get down by 20 points against the Mavericks and come back, I don't think. So they're going to have to match their energy early. Otherwise, I can see the Mavericks winning. But I think I would give naturally the slight edge to Memphis because they're the ones with the quarterback.
Yeah. And likewise, due to history, Tennessee hasn't made it to the playoffs yet. So I will go ahead and go along with the history and think. And plus, I got booed at our watch party the other night because I picked the Grizzlies to lose to Golden State. So,
wow, okay,
right.
We had to redeem yourself.
Well, we had been winning teams since January, and we are now 0-9 in the state of California. So, obviously,
well, and the Mavericks. I mean, we just got to see, because they're going to have to exercise some demons tomorrow night, man. Clay had a really good game. I don't know when the last time I seen Klay Thompson had 2 consecutive good games on the road. Yeah, so, he's had a good game. Brandon Williams, I mean, they shot 50% from 3. Usually you just don't see that anyway. Usually there's going to be a regression to the mean. So we'll see, man. I think the Grizzlies will have an opportunity to win tomorrow, but the Mavericks are not coming in there to lay down. So they will come to play. And Mavs fans, I love y'all. I hope we win. We'll just have to see what happens.
Yep. Yeah, y'all definitely got a shot, man. I expected it to be a good one, because when I saw against Sacramento, that definitely, I didn't expect to see y'all roll over either, because Nico, he's still been doing his press tour and all that. And Anthony Davis did get traded. He was traded in this deal. Right. So I'm pretty sure he himself is like, nah, I'm not going out like that because everybody talk out the noise. I got to prove that I was working.
And I know that they kind of feel like it's like them against the world. I know they kind of feel like that. I mean, even they probably feel like, they're against their own fans as well because of how is everything played out. But the bottom line is, man, Mavericks fans are just passionate. We love the Mavs. We love them. We love them. We love them. It's really difficult. But we also grew up with just certain characteristics about the basketball side of the organization, which was kind of built on loyalty and all that type of stuff. So to see somebody come in there and just kind of rip all that apart and trade our dude without, it's going to take a while to get over. But I will say, man, a lot of people don't think if the Mavericks win the championship that they won't, man, they win the championship, I'm going to be just fine. I will be there and be at the parade. But time will have to tell us if that's really going to happen. I have my doubts.
If I say a championship is a championship.
Exactly. I don't care who wins. I don't care who wins. I don't care who up in that thing. So we'll see.
Oh, man. But that's good, man. That's all I had for you. Appreciate you coming on again. Let the people know where they can follow you at.
Man, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, BG901. Real simple to follow. Now, my mouth gets the best of me sometimes on Twitter. So, it's just what it is. The Mavericks have had a tough season. The Titans have had some tough seasons. So I just have to let it out. That's my platform to let it out. But other than that, easy going, man. So I hope follow me if you want, and we'll see what happens.
Definitely. And hopefully we got some good news coming with us next Thursday with a certain quarterback with Tennessee Titans.
They better have some good news for me.
Right.
Otherwise, their mouth is going to be ready to go.
Boy, I'm going to be with you. We're going to be tag teaming on that one. But that does it for the show, everyone. Of course, again, man, Parish Sharkey, beat reporter for Memphis Grizzlies, Bluff City Media. I will be at the game tomorrow night. Sign out until next time. Peace.